Hello to all of you, dear viewers who are interested in learning the Python programming language. Thank you for being with me in another educational video of this powerful programming language. Another discussion that takes place in Python next to working with files, considering that there is a high probability of errors in this matter, is exceptions. Python uses a series of objects to handle potential errors. These potential errors are actually exceptional cases during the running of our code. Python has the ability to identify these exceptions, but we can also write our code to take these exceptions into account. In order not to stop the program in case of possible errors, we must use exceptions blocks. If Python tries to find these errors by itself, our program will stop and the output may not be very understandable. We call these blocks try exception blocks. We use these in places where there is a possibility that an error may occur. Let's start with a simple example. Let's consider, for example, print 100 to 0, for example. You can see that there is a zero division error. We get an error, we can handle this error ourselves. This block actually says to try to run the command if you can't enter the except command line. For example, we can write try the same command print print actually 100 to 0 except zero division error colon another line, and pay attention to the indentation. For example, we want to have a message here. For example, division to 0 is impossible. Okay, let's run it. We can see that the message we wanted to print is printed here. These blocks are very similar to conditional if loops. If the code inside try is run, interpreter will not enter except. In conditional if loops, if the if condition is satisfied, the interpreter will not enter else. The advantage of this method is that if there are other codes after the error occurs, after actually the point, the place where the error occurs, their running process will not be stopped. Okay, let's add a block. For example, if we have some code after this, for example, print enter two numbers for division, enter two numbers for division, for example, something like this, and another print comment which said quit the program by entering the queue. Again, print built-in function quit the program by entering queue, something like this, for example. Now we want to have a while true. I will explain it. Let's have a variable named first number we want to have an input prompt, quotation mark inside the parentheses, a new line, a character, and for example first number. Then if this first number is equal to Q, don't forget to put the column, the keyword break, define another variable named second number, another input prompt, inside the parentheses a quotation mark, a new line character, and second number, something like this. Again, we want to consider the same if condition is equal to Q. Don't forget to put the column, and again we want to break. Now let's define another variable named output division, actually output, which should be equal to the division of integer format of first number into the integer format of the second number. Okay, and finally we want to print this variable division output. Okay, this while true means I continue doing this, that is always do this. In fact, it is a conditional condition actually to stop the program. Let's save this file as, for example, in the current working directory. Chapter 20, and we want to have the name division, for example, for this division.py. Okay, now we want to run it. Here we should enter a number, another number, and this is the output of this division. Again, we can see the result, and if we enter 0 as the second number, we can see this as 0 division. Let's comment this part of the code we do not want it here. Okay, we can see that this is the 0 division error. Let's run it again. For example, we enter any number and this never get quit, but if we want to quit the code, the program, we need the Q as this is printed here and actually here. Quit the program by entering the Q. But what does it mean? Pay attention to here. Here we told to the interpreter if the first number's amount, the first number's value is equal to the string format of Q. So does it mean that we need to enter the string format of Q here? No. This does not mean something like this, because the actually output of this input prompt always are in the string format, and there is no need to do such things. But we can do this with any numbers, and if we want to quit, we need a queue. You can see that the program is quitted, and here the kernel is waiting for us to give it another command, another code actually. Okay, the input output, actually the output of the input prompt is always a string, so we should not use the string format of Q to exit the loop. Rather, we must hit the Q, just this Q. We want to take two numbers while the program is running and return the result of division. We do not want to consider the condition of dividing by zero error for now. We want to leave this debugging to Python itself for now. The program continues until Q is entered. Always inside loops, we can use the break tool to get out of the loop, which we did it here. We see that if we enter the second number as 0, we enter a division by a 0 error, and the program ends because Python itself gave an error. But if we consider the try exception suite, the program will not end. Rather, only an error message appears on the screen and the program continues to work without problems. Let's open a new file. And we want to have the same codes. Let's copy paste them here. But we want to have a try exception suite here. We need to put these try exceptions as somewhere like these. These are just the conditional loops for quitting the program. So we need to place these try exceptions here. Pay attention to these indentations. And then we need to have except here, except zero division error. Let's here have a print, for example, we want to have a message here. For example, dividing number into 0 is impossible. For example, something like this. Dividing number into 0 is impossible. We need an else too. Else print this division output. We need an indentation here. Okay. Let's save this file as, for example, try except division. Now we want to run it. First number, second number. You can see that this is working. First number, second number 0. You can see that this is what we wanted to print here. Dividing number into 0 is impossible. What would be occurred if we comment this else? Let's try it. First number 25, second number 5, and then you can see the output here, but this is better to consider this else. You have to consider this else if you want to do programming based on standards. This is called exception handling, and you saw how useful it can be. This method is very useful in cases where we don't want the program to stop completely. This exception handling is used a lot in working with files. As we said, there is a code inside a try that has the possibility of an error. If there is an error, the code inside the except is run, and if there is no error, the code inside else is run. Open the read data file. We created data1 r.txt. Let's open this read data file. Actually, we want to open it with a notepad and copy paste these codes here. We want to have this as read, and we do not need this for loops either. Okay, now let's consider our here. Let's run it. Do you agree if we restart the kernel? I think our kernel is very busy now. Let's restart it. Okay. Okay. Kernel is restarting. Actually, we now want to run this file. We consider the file name as data1 r.txt. Here in the current working directory of chapter 20, we do not have such files. Actually, we need at first save this. Let's save this file at the same current working directory. Let's name it file not found error example. You will figure out why I dedicated such name to this file, but let's have it saved and let's run it. And you can see this error here. Actually, there is no such file here in this current working directory. So we want to receive another message which tells us something like this, but we want to have this program running after occurring such errors. So we need to use a try exception block. So let's do it. Let's consider a try keyword here. We need an indentation here, and let's consider contents here. Okay, and another indentation here, and after that we need the except here, this error which is printed here, which is received here, file not found error. Don't forget to put the colon. Print a message, for example, something like the specified file is not available. The specified file is not available. Else, let's consider a variable which is named words. Let me explain to you a bit about counting words inside a txt file. Let me review the split built-in function in Python. For example, please note that in Python, if we want to calculate the number of words that are separated by a space in a file, we must act like this. We have already talked about split. For example, consider the S which is containing Udemy. Then we want to apply this split built-in function on it, and we can see that the output is the right part of this D in this S variable, and the other parameter of the output list is the left side of this D. It seems that this input argument of this split built-in function acts like a point by which the right side of that and the left side of that are separated and becomes two parameters of a list which we are seeing in the output. We can apply this split built-in function on, for example, E. You can see the result here. Okay, so in a txt file, if we want to have the words inside the file separately, we need to apply this split built-in function on the string formats on the contents of this file, and we need to consider the input argument of this split built-in function as nothing, because the words are separated by nothing, which is space in a txt file actually. So we want to act like this. We want to apply this split built-in function on this defined contents here, and we do not want to consider any input argument for that. We want to have actually another variable which is words number, and this is the length of these words. Actually, the output of applying a split built-in function on something is a list always. So if we want to count its parameters, if we want to know the number of its parameters, we can apply the len built-in function on that list. Okay, after that we want to, for example, print f quotation mark file name, close the curly brace, file has, opening another curly brace, words underline number, close the curly brace, words. Okay, inside the printer we can use f and curly braces to dynamically insert the value of the variables into the strings. Let's run it, and you can see that the specified file is not available, which was written here by ourselves in the print built-in function. The exception handling is important when you want to check several files. Let's pass this program to a function called words and numbers counting. Let's have another file. Let's have the keyword def words numbers counting. File name, and we want to have all of these. Copy paste here. Let's save this file at the current working directory and consider the name words numbers counting function.py. Now let's run it. Now what happens if there are many files? We can do this. So for example, let's consider file name, and let's restart this kernel again. It is not good to work with busy kernels. Remember to restart your kernel every time you get a chance, get an opportunity to restart it, and you will get better results actually. Let's consider file name as a list of file names. For example, a.txt, data1.txt, data2 for example w.txt, data3 w.txt. Pay attention that here we have data1.txt, data2a.txt, and data2w.txt. So these two files, data1.txt and data2w.txt, among these parameters are available in our current working directory. So press enter. Okay, and now let's have a for loop for name in file name. Call these words numbers counting with the input argument name. Words numbers counting. Words numbers counting. What is the problem here? Let's consider again. Oh, okay, there is small error here. I should type A here, but I did a fault here. Okay, you can see that because the first argument of this file name, which was a.txt, was not available in our current working directory, so the message the specified file is not available is printed here, which we specified to be printed in such cases, but because the second and third files are available in our current working directory, so these are the results, and actually the last one were not available, and the output is the same. You can check them. For example, let's consider data2w.txt file. Let's open it. Let's count the words inside it. Udemy, the first word. Python, the second one. 3, 4, 5. Actually, this is considered completely one word because there is no space to separate these words from each other. So the interpreter considers this phrase as one word. So let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So the output here is correct. Okay, so you can see the advantage of this method. This method is useful in cases where our code is error prone. We can consider the program in such a way that if the desired file does not exist, a message will not be printed. In this case, a pass can be used inside except. This is how to read and write text files. Here we can comment this line, and instead of that we can consider a pass keyword. You can see that in such cases there is nothing to be printed here in case of not existing the files. Okay, we want to restart the kernel. Let's talk a little about the JSON module. Let's close these files. We do not need them. And talk more about JSON module. This module allows you to save the data of simple JSON structures in a file. With this module, you can save the data and you can load the saved data later. You can even share this stored data between files and even between different programming languages. We want to write a simple program using this JSON and store some data in it and then share this saved data. Let's have, for example, import JSON. Let's consider a list which is named numbers. There can be any numbers here. For example, let's consider these numbers. Okay, let's have a file name variable which is, for example, numbers.json. Now we want to have the same with open or with the input argument of file name, and we want to open this file on the write mode, so we need the quotation W parameter, and don't forget the asf and these colon. Let's say JSON dot, we want to save files, so we need to dump. Okay, we need to save numbers on the F file. Okay, let's save it as in the current working directory. Actually, we always do it the chapter 20. Let's consider the name, for example, JSON dump numbers.py. Okay, we want to run it, and this is okay. The dump function is for saving. The first argument of this function is what you want to save, and the second argument is the file you want to save this information in. Let's load this data now. Save with open. We need this file name. Don't forget as if and colon. JSON. This time we want to load this data, so we need load from F. This keywords argument is not necessary here. We will talk about it, but not now. And after that we want to print these numbers. Okay, run it, and you can see the numbers here. Okay. In this way, we can read the contents of this file we save. Let's write another program to see more uses of JSON. In this program, the user enters his password, and the program saves it and uses the saved information in further references. Let's have a new file. Again, we need to import JSON. The password variable, we need an input prompt. Inside it, inside the parentheses, we need a string for wanting the password from the user. Okay, after that we need to consider actually a name, a file name for our file, for example password.json. Okay, after that we need the same with open, file name, and the write mode as if json.dump, because we want to save something, password into this f, this object f, and this keyword is not. Let's have a print command here. F specified password by you, curly brace, password. Okay. Let's save this file in the current working directory as a password JSON, for example. Password JSON. Okay. Let's run it, enter password, for example 253, and you can see that this is printed here. Specified password by you is 253. Okay, now the user has entered the password once and our program has saved it. Actually, we can run it multiple times and enter another passwords too, but this is not obligatory to be just numbers. You can have any of format for your password. Okay, now we want to load this password. So here we need another with open, the same file name. Don't forget as, if, and colon. We need this JSON dot load from this F. Keywords are not necessary here. Print F quotation mark your password was password. Okay, we run it again, enter a password. For example, this is our password, and you can see that the both phrases are printed here after one another, and we do not have something like this. So we do not we want to have something more logical. Now we can use try except else suites, and we can have both of these programs in one file and do not have the phrases, the both phrases printed after each other. Here we put try before with. Here we put a try indentation, indentation, indentation. If there is no file, the interpreter enters the password. Okay, let's have it more logic. We want to import JSON, password, input, enter password. We want to have a file name as this. Let's have another, actually, for the same purpose. Let's do it as the same. Okay, and let's have another file, import JSON. We need a file name which is password.json. We want to have the try except else blocks with open file name as if JSON.load. If there is file, so load its data. Except file not found error. If there is no file, so have password, get password with an input prompt from the user. Enter password, and again your file name should be the same, password.json, and you need another with open file name, and the write mode as fcolumn json.dump. We want to save the password in the f file, and the keywords argument is not necessary here. Print f quotation specified password by you, the same password. We need to consider an else here too. Print f your password was password. Okay, this is a type error, type fault, password. Okay. Okay, we want to save it here in the current working directory with the name, for example, password JSON dump and load. Okay, save it, run it. Password input, enter password. Password is not defined. Okay, this error occurred because since we have run our previous file, there were a password here. When we delete this password and run the file again, we see that we should enter password because the interpreter try the existence, the availability of the password.json file in the current working directory, and because such file were not available, so it enters the accept block, and it wants us input enter a password. For example, we want to consider 36 and then 952 as a password, and you can see that the message specified password by you. Now okay, something wrong was happened here. I think that the problem is that inside this password.json file we need to consider password as this f dot read. Let's consider this one. What is the problem? Okay. Let's try another solution. Let's consider password equal to this. Oh, okay. Now our error was solved. Actually, the interpreter was missed this password variable. We did not tell to interpreter that the result, the output of loading data from this f, which was this password.json file, it should be inside a variable which is named a password. So the interpreter did not know this password, and you can see it here. Actually, we can try it again and delete this password.json file. Again, run, and because the interpreter did not find that the password.json file, so it entered to accept block. Now we want to consider, for example, 2584 as password, and we can see that it is printed on the screen. Specified password by you is 25 and 86, and if we run the program again, you can see that the message printed on the screen is that your password was 2584, and you can see that this is what we wanted to reach it. Thank you so much for being with me in another tutorial videos of Python programming language. Stay tuned because lots of practical and important and of course delicate points about Python programming language are awaiting for you in upcoming lectures. Have a nice day.